It looks like SEC guy has called back.
Hello,
SEC
Barry,
guy.
you there?
I'm here, sir. Glad to have you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm real sorry if we chased off all your Oregon listeners. If you had to just shut it down at Portland because we beat them up so bad from the SEC. So I consider that my fault for chasing off a whole batch of listeners, of potential listeners at least. But listen, if you've ever been there, and I was there one time on business, you're not missing out on much. Let me just put it that way. I'm surprised that the tenor of your show, if you know what I mean, would play there anywho. So I wouldn't worry too much about losing them at all.
I have to tell you, you were right on calling LSU, but I had a lot of complaints from our Portland listeners not wanting an SEC guy back on again. That's for sure.
Complain away. Complain away. Because here's the story. There's lots of people complaining about the SEC. It's not fair. Let's all make a super conference. Hey, let's get the Texas together and Oklahoma and Michigan and USC, and let's try to battle as soon. Here's what the NCAA is trying to do, Barry. This is just a little insight for you. I heard about this over at my country club. Listen. What they're doing is trying to gather up 4 different conferences, get about 50 teams together, and then come after the SEC. They say there's power in numbers. I just call them just a lot more nincompoops together. So as far as I see it, it's just the SEC has everyone in their sights just in one conference. So
two questions
get
for you.
your super conference away. Put it away because we won 10 national championships in a row, and another 10 is coming.
2 questions for you, SEC guy.
Years.
Number 1,
more years.
how does the SEC team, and supposedly a good one, lose to a Mountain West team? I went on the record and said that Boise State would get a shellacking on your advice.
No, that wasn't my advice. I was locked into the LSU-Oregon game. I don't even know anything about the other one. What else, Barry? What else?
Okay,
Next.
all right, let's go through the
Next.
SEC schedule because I've criticized Boise State for their schedule. Let's go through it this week. Alabama, North Texas. Oh, that's a great game. Arkansas, Troy.
You know what's happening there? What I like to call that is government dole. We're helping we're cutting them a nice paycheck for coming in. We're subsidizing their athletic program.
Well, Georgia has an impressive game against Coastal Carolina.
Well, they've already had Steve Spurrier. They had those fellas that play on the blue carpet and everything. So, cut them a break.
South Carolina's playing Navy. That's impressive.
Well, patriotism. Next. What else? They love America. Who do you want them to play, the Taliban?
That's all I got for you. I guess my question.
That's what I figured. And then what happened? 2 SEC monsters battled yesterday, and one of them came out victorious. It was a hard-fought game. People hitting hard, and we got to see what real football looked like yesterday. So congratulations, rest of the country. Congratulations.
Well, for my Boomer Sooner fans, I got to tell you, the number 1 team in the country right now is not from the SEC.
Well, who is it then?
It's Oklahoma, and you know it.
That's funny. Every time Bob Stoops has a big game, he gets beat. It'll be real funny if Jimbo Fisher, who coached at LSU, by the way, if Jimbo knocks him out, I'll be calling you next Friday. Trust me. Because Florida State and Jimbo Fisher, he's going up against the Jimbo. Bob Stoops is going up against the Jimbo. You can't beat a Jimbo.
I heard a talk show host, a sports talk show host in Houston this morning, tell me that Jimbo was overrated, and I have to follow that advice. You still pick Alabama for the national championship?
Yeah, of course I do. They're 1. LSU's 1A. South Carolina's 1B.
Why can't you throw a bone to our Baton Rouge listeners that think they got another championship coming this year?
Well, I just said LSU's 1B. That's as good as they're going to get. Hell, I'm just hoping that they don't just slide completely into riots.
Oh no, that's a terrible thing to say. What if let me see who LSU's got next week. Louisiana Tech, that's an easy win. Georgia's an easy win. UAB, South Carolina, they should take them.
Georgia's not easy. No game in the SEC is easy.
Well, Boise State beat them. Let's remember that. Kentucky.
Well, that's true on that, Barry.
Tennessee Martin. Then they got Alabama. They beat Alabama in Starkville. This season's over.
No, next.
They beat Alabama.
They're not beating us.
You know, I got to tell you honestly, I have a problem with Nick Saban's scheduling. Kent State, North Texas. I mean, they need to play some real teams over there. Georgia Southern. Good grief.
Well, what do you expect? Let me ask you a question. If you were going to run a marathon, Would you like it if you never had a water break? When you run a marathon, you see people just standing there handing you water every so often. That's what Kent State is. It's a cold glass of water to keep us hydrated.
It's kind of embarrassing.
If you expect us to run a whole marathon, which is an SEC conference, with no glass of water like North Texas, we'll pass out dead.
You look at the first week of scheduling for the SEC, it really is embarrassing. The only team that played a good team was
It's not
LSU.
embarrassing. You know what's embarrassing? What's embarrassing is the last week of the season. Let's look at the last week of the season, Barry. What's embarrassing is how always the SEC playing. The last week of the season, the only one that matters. The first week doesn't make a hooey. The last week is the one that matters. And it seems like the schedule maker keeps saying Bama, Auburn, LSU, Bama, LSU. It's the same thing over and over. Florida.
Wow. You know what? Sadly, I think you might be right. SEC
I ain't
guy.
right. You know, Wikipedia, it says there.
SEC guy, I love your passion. Thanks for the
You
call.
love my truth.
Is there
You
a
love
particular
my truth is what you love.
is there a particular game this weekend we should be keeping our eyes on?
Yeah, Bama versus the world. Goodbye, Barry.
So ignorant.